the displays of the mortals around the valley had been underwhelming. Maybe not. I'm sure they'll have her under constant watch, but if they move her out of the valley or even kill her, it would be a complete waste.
Understood.
Raven left, heading toward where she was training with the hunters, while Set took care of some of her dungeon fairy tasks. There was actually more to it than just flying around, I learned when I asked her about it. For instance, by studying how everything worked, she could take control of the dungeon in the case of an emergency. I was a bit skeptical when I heard that, but she assured me it was only in dire circumstances. I could give her authority to control the dungeon separately, but I held off on that for the moment. I turned my attention to other matters once they left me. The battle had given me a good amount of mana to work with, but there was something I wanted to work on before expanding my dungeon any further. Moving to the top floor, which housed my labs and workshop, I pulled out one of the control collars that I'd taken from the necromancers. I was impressed that the necromancers each had 2 or 3 of the collars on them, as it wasn't easy magic. I assumed, at least, based on the glancing over I'd given them earlier. Let's see what we got here. Diving into the magic with my senses, I found it was an offshoot of the magic I'd recorded during the mental connection with the northern dungeon a few weeks ago. It was weaker, but still very encompassing. The main difference was that the collar didn't quite have a grasp on the target's soul. Compared to straight slave magic, the collars were designed to be released at some point, but came with the benefit of quickly attaching to a target. The metal was more interesting to me, though. It was similar to mithril, in that it could hold nearly as much magic during enchanting. Its durability was about the same as steel, maybe a little better. The biggest difference was the weight. Compared to mithril, it was 5 or 6 times heavier. Absorbing a little, I easily discovered how it was made. I wanted to shake my head. It just went to show that people would always find a way if resources were short. They had to pour virgin blood over what looked like a steel and electrum alloy. Quite fitting for necromancers, I supposed. I created a bar of the steel electrum alloy from mana and summoned a goblin. With a quick thought, my avatar's arm materialized and sliced the wrist of the goblin. Its blood poured over the bar, but nothing happened. That was a pity. It appeared natural-born creatures would be required, or so I was getting from my dungeon senses. Forgoing the material that the original collar was made from for now, I created an alternative using electrum with mithril engraving. I altered the spells to bind the person to me, while adding in some of the runes that I had condensed into a script from the bindings I was studying. Mainly obedience, since some of the slaves could still act up against their masters who didn't word their orders correctly. It was honestly one of the most hilarious events to happen when slavers dived my dungeon. Looking over the finished product, I was pleased with my work. It was expensive, mana-wise, but once I had a victim, it would siphon off roughly half of their mana, unless I otherwise specified. That was almost worth the cost in itself, and made me consider introducing some products into the world that would draw in mana as part of an activation sequence, but send most of it to me.
"Master, when you are ready, night has fallen,"
Set said, bringing me from my work. I glanced outside and saw that she was right. Time sure does fly when you're having fun. Quickly copying the collar I had working and pocketing them, I formed my avatar. Not wishing to draw attention to either of the forms I had at the moment, I shifted the face so that the ebony skin changed to black fur, and I grew wolf features. Set altered her form as well, without me saying anything. Raven couldn't alter her features, but I helped her out by casting a simple illusion over her face. She looked the part of a forgettable...